Hello and good evening. What a great pleasure it is to meet you. My name is Inbaal. I'm a psychic, tarot reader, and witch. And never has it been more crucial that I'm a witch than just now in the run up to Halloween. I hope you're having a wonderful week. I certainly am. Throughout the show tonight, I would like to talk about what makes Halloween what it is, how I celebrate it, how you might celebrate it, and the different things that you might want to let go of when the time comes for Halloween. If you'd like to get involved, you can just message me through whatever medium you're watching. So if you're watching us on YouTube, you can send a YouTube message and I'll see it, just like I see this wonderful message from Lucianne Emberglow, who says, "Evening, beautiful." You can see that she messaged from YouTube because next to her lovely face there, we have a little YouTube mark. Or if you're watching us on Facebook, you can send a little Facebook message and I'll see it like this with a little F next to the face where it says, and this is a message for all of you, you can support me by sending stars. Stars help me earn money to make more content. So if you want to get involved, go ahead and send a message. We're here on the Bigfoot Outlaw channel. It's a whole network of esoteric programming. We've got programs about Bigfoot. We've got programs about ghost hunting. We've got sometimes live events. We've got programs that deal with crystal healing, numerology, and here we play around with tarot, psychic development, and a bit of witchiness to boot. We've got a message from Roger Blair saying, "Howdy, Inbaal, howdy to you too." And from Kim Princess, who says, "Hi, everyone. Hi to you." I wanted to dedicate this program to Halloween. We're coming up to towards the end of the week. We're coming up to Halloween. We're getting to the end of the season of light, and we're switching over to the season of darkness. Halloween is the Celtic New Year, and it is also the third harvest. So I was wanting to look at all of that, and then I thought it might be fun if together we looked at all different things that we might want to let go of for Halloween. Kim is well into it, saying, "Yay, Halloween." I know, it's very exciting. It's really sort of the one time a year that it doesn't matter where you live or like how square your neighbors are. You can put like your witchy stuff, go outside, blend in. And I really think for like alternative people, blending in is such a, it's such a weird concept. Like some of us love it, some of us hate it. If we loved it so much, maybe we'd blend in a little bit more. But it's certainly unusual. And I remember when I was small, I used to go to a science fiction class for gifted children. And we would look at science fiction stories and kind of understand what's behind them. And there was a little science fiction story that was about this little kid that says, because, we're talking about Halloween, you can already guess the ending. But he says how exciting it is that him and his siblings are allowed to sort of go around and sort of be out in the open one time per year. And this little kid, it sort of becomes very apparent that that they're going trick-or-treating. It says, we're going from house to house and we ask for sweets. And it's so nice to be around like regular people and not like not in hiding. And then the punchline of the story, like the big finish of the story is when he says, and then just like every year, my dad put me to bed and stroked me on the head right between my horns and said, we'll do it again next year or something like that. And I love that because I really relate to that little monster. I probably could blend in a little more than I do. I probably could, but I'm not gonna. Are you? Are you gonna? Because I think that the ability to sort of stand confident without blending in, that's what makes alternative people so special. We're fine just as we are. Sorry, you can see that I'm looking sort of behind the screen. I'm looking for the little baggie. There we go. I found it. For the little baggie that holds my headphones. I was doing a reading just before the show. So little baggie. There we go. Now I'm happy. So I see that some of you have already got a little bit of Halloween action going on. So mostly Zen has popped in and said, hello, Inbal. Hello, hello, hello. And Lucianne says, I'm hosting a celebration and party on Friday night. My altar is set for the ancestors, Persephone and Anubis. Very, sorry, I got excited. Very afterlife, very underworld. I love it. So Anubis is a big hotshot god when it comes to like the afterlife and dealing with the dead. And Persephone, of course, from the Eleusinian mysteries, one of my favorite characters in all the myths, would spend 2/3 of the year above ground and 1/3 of the year below, or the other way around. Yeah, 2/3 of the year above and 1/3 of the year in Hades, and was the wife of Hades himself. Magical says, it's lovely to listen to your magical forecast, Inbal. Merry meet to you too, Magical. Is it, do I know you from elsewhere? Lucianne says, blending in. No. Oh, no. Kim is asking a brilliant question. What can I do with my altar that's different for Halloween? Amazing question that could lead us to discussing what is Halloween. Everybody get your notebooks. Everybody get switched on. So Halloween is the third harvest. So in the pagan calendar, we've got the first harvest, the fruit harvest. I want to say is that the 1st of August? Is that in Lunarsar? And then we've got the second harvest, which is the grain harvest in on the equinox, so 21st of September. And then the third harvest, correct me if I'm wrong, the third harvest is Halloween, it's Samhain, and that is when the meat is harvested, when animals are taken to the abattoir in order to create the meat that people will be eating. If they're not vegetarian, like literally every pagan I know, will be eating for winter. And that is the connection between Halloween, the Mexican Day of the Dead, and of course, the seasonal calendar. So on your altar, anything dead, spikes, but primarily Halloween altar would want a pomegranate, as we were saying just before, because of, sorry, I'm putting up Lucianne message again, because Persephone went to the underworld and she ate from the food of the dead, which was the pomegranate. She only ate 6 seeds of pomegranate, but that already made her ineligible to reverse the process and go and live full time on Earth. Also, we have some good ideas from Lucianne saying there are abundant, beautiful leaves on the ground. They're always amazing in the altar. So yeah, autumn leaves. I actually brought with me the Witch's Bible because I thought that would be fun to see what's like a traditional idea for Samhain. So let's see where we can find nice suggestions for the Samhain altar. And I say that as somebody who doesn't leaf through this book that much. So I'm just hoping that if I keep leafing, the Samhain altar will pop up somehow. The seashore ritual. Thank you. The ethics of witchcraft, myth, ritual, and symbolism. Is it, do we even have the seasonal? Maybe it's in the 8 Sabbaths for witches. Wait. What witches do? Is it here? The Book of the Law. It is definitely not here. I am sure it must be here. There we go. The Sabbaths. Why aren't you here? There we go. Samhain, page 121. I did find it. 121. Let's see what great ideas we have for an altar here. While I would love for you guys to send in what you have on your altar. So my personal Samhain altar will just be much, much darker. As it goes into the dark side of the year, I've got, still from last Halloween, black candles. If you go around furniture stores that sell candles, maybe Swedish, then stock up on their Halloween candles. We've got this color, very useful. This color, super, super useful. And also purple. Have I still got any purples left from last year? Yeah, I've got some purples left, but I think I may have to go in again because the tail end of my last year's stock. So it's time to sort of stock up a little bit. But yeah, that'll be it for my Samhain altar. But I must admit, I'm a huge minimalist, a teeny tiny minimalist when it comes to setting up an altar. Let's see what advice we've got. Sorry. Magical says, I'm one of beautiful Laura Daligan's tarot babes. Helena, hi. Oh, I can't believe it. So nice to see you. Amazing. And are you going to go on Laura's course? I'm very much looking forward to Laura's course. Actually, let me pull up the details because she's not here to promote it. Let me tell everybody who would like to learn the runes from the master herself. Laura Daligan rune course. Reading the runes workshops. Is that the right thing? Spiritual courses. So dates are, Saturday, 1st of November, we're starting. And it's from 3 to 6. You can look it up on her look it up on her website, and then 2 weeks later, so there's 3 lessons all inside November. So yeah, if you're wanting to learn the runes with tarot, I'm assuming you don't know the runes already, maybe you do, then I'm going to be on her course. Not promotion, not advert, actual fan. Lucianne says, mine has pomegranate, and we're starting easy, right? We're starting with pomegranate, can buy easily in the store, but we're taking it up to 11. Lucianne says, and lots of bones and skulls that I found in nature. This is why we can't blend in. This is why we can't blend in. Look at that. Look at this message. We're looking at fruit. And then we're looking at the dried insides of people and animals. Right. And then Lucianne and Helena are meeting each other and excited in the comments. So I was going to check out, what the pharaohs are saying about it. Kim says, okay, I'm going to do leaves and black, orange, and purple candles that I have. Oh, you're already stocked up. Well done, Kim. So we have a lot of explanations about Samhain, sap, farm. Wow, they're really writing a lot. The preparation. Right. So this is from The Witch's Bible by Jonathan Stewart Farrar. And they're saying the cauldron is placed in the center of the circle with glowing charcoal in a tin lid or other container inside it, and incense to hand. Usual incense burner on. Oh, do you know, in terms of like incense, so we're talking about candles. Candles definitely sort of go with black. But in terms of incense, my last visit to Glastonbury, I got this unbelievable. I haven't even used it. I'm thinking of turning my whole house to face it instead of facing the TV. But this is like Kabbalistic. It's Abramelin incense. It smells incredible. And it looks very Samhain-y. And also got a very, very black looking Hecate incense. That's all obviously from Star Child that I love so much. So Hecate is also part of the Eleusinian mysteries. So when we look at a working for Samhain, dealing with the Eleusinian mysteries is just like gorgeous. It's so beautiful. In short, the Eleusinian mysteries is a story that Hades was looking for a bride, and he came and stole Persephone to be his bride, took her to the underworld. Her mum, Demeter, who also known as Ceres, who was her companion, was devastated. Ceres was the goddess in charge of grain growing. Ceres, cereal. Ceres, cereal. Seems the same thing. And she went and looked for her and looked for her and looked for her and couldn't find her anywhere. And then Helios, the sun, said that he has seen her taken to the underworld. Now, because, as discussed, Persephone had those 6 pomegranate seeds, she couldn't really independently go back up, and her mum, being alive, couldn't sort of go down, and the mum made that no grain would grow. I think nothing grew. Did nothing grow? Am I remembering it correctly? And then a deal was struck, so to speak, that Persephone would share her time between her controlling mum and her controlling husband. In the whole story, we don't hear one word come out of Persephone's mouth, which is why she's one of my favorite characters, because you could just guess what she was thinking. And Hecate is connected because the guardian to the underworld was Hecate. And so if you're looking for deities for an autumn altar, you are spoiled for choice. You can work with Hades if you're brave. I wouldn't, but you can. Obviously, Demeter, Persephone, Helios, the sun, and Hecate, all very, very, very appropriate. Now, I'm kind of not doing Demeter justice. I have a good relationship with her. When I first moved to Yorkshire, I was very, very pregnant. I had left London behind, all of my friends, the life that I knew for 15 years, and came up here to have a baby in the countryside. It was a dream. And the first house that we rented was called September Cottage. Great start. And as we were parking up the car when we first arrived with all our stuff, still pregnant, still no baby, we saw that the ivy that covered a wall just outside the house had part of the ivy cut out of it, and there was a relief there of Ceres, a relief of Demeter. And it was such an incredible sign because Demeter was the model mom. The model, she did her best. We all do. Demeter was the model mom, and she was also uh, a sacred nursemaid. So it was an incredible sign that said, here is a good place for you to come and have a baby. Lou and Helena are catching up with each other. Right, amazing. So speaking of Halloween, so Halloween, first of all, is Magical is loving it. What serendipity. Oh, it blew my mind. It absolutely blew my mind because I was already sort of very confused. I lived in London. I loved London. I'm not from England. I hadn't been to Yorkshire properly before. I thought it sounded like a good idea. I have my moon in Sagittarius, so I'm happy for an adventure. But it was really difficult. I'd never had a baby. I was very lonely. I was very alone. I was, with my husband, but but without everybody else, like my job, I used to sort of watch psychic TV just so that I can see the people that I worked with. So that sign was huge. It was huge. It was very, very needed. So the one thing that Halloween is like we said, the death, the abattoir, the slaughter, the corpses. But another thing that it is of course the Celtic New Year. Woohoo! And the Celtic New Year, or any kind of new year, any kind of new beginning, is a great moment to make your New Year's resolutions, decide what you're going to do as you're moving ahead. And so, what I thought would be fun was for us to do a little game together, a little exercise together, which is have a little share about what things we are slaughtering, what things we're sort of leaving in the past, and what things we're taking ahead as kind of New Year's resolution. So we're combining the two. So, for example, for me, I may make the New Year's resolution to be more disciplined. And I know it sounds really, really insane because I put it across as if I'm like super disciplined, that I'm kind of on the brink of, mental instability. But actually, I appear to be super disciplined while I also spend my days scrolling. Very human, very fallible, very relatable. Oh, let's see what's going on there. Check this out. Hello. So I would like to, as my New Year's resolution, move forward with being more disciplined. And I would like to leave in the past. It's a little hard to say, but I would like to leave my victim mentality in the past. I deserve to scroll for a little bit longer, or I deserve to, to have like, two biscuits and not one. So I know it sounds really, really harsh, but of course, New Year's resolutions and also some things that are left in the past don't need to end up with like 100% adherence. Some percent adherence is already like brilliant, is already okay. So if you feel minded, let me know what you're leaving in the past and what you're going to bring forward, what you're going to sort of have more of. And pull, let's pull some cards for each of those aspects to see what you need to do in order to sort of find more success in the wishes that you make for yourself. So let's see. Who else has come here? Lorna Christie is saying, yoo-hoo, everyone, yoo-hoo. So we have a beautiful share from Luciane who says, I'm leaving behind illness, bye, and bringing in groundedness after all the stresses of moving. So for leaving behind illness, I've got to tell you, this says, be your own best friend. Take care of yourself. Don't be so harsh. Give yourself an embrace, a cuddle, a little love, so that you know that you are worthy, whether sick or healthy. And for the groundedness, we have a lot of happiness. So it's a joyful groundedness. It's not a dull groundedness. And that's really, really nice to see. So yay. Kim says, I love that, Inbaal. Thank you. Lorna says, hi, Inbaal. Hi, Lorna Christie. We've got you greeting each other, and we'll see if anybody else fancies a little share. So I'm going to pull a couple for me. So the leaving behind of the victim mentality. Oh, yeah. It says, I think it says, that the more routine I have, the fewer excuses I need. And the stepping forward into more discipline. Look, that's a 4 as well. I love it. They're both really stable. Stepping around to more discipline says that sort of doing opposite things would work well. So maybe being sort of very disciplined with like work and tidying, as well as maybe sort of being very disciplined about treats and exercise. So let's have a look what we've got here. First of all, Luciane says, blessed you are, Ma. And Kim shares with us, I'm going to leave behind fear and punch it in the face. It holds me back when I know I have so much to give. Resolution, be patient. Work on my gifts. Figure out what to do with them. That's beautiful. And also, I love the violence that you express for things that you leave behind, whereas actually the gentleness for the things that you're welcoming in. So that fear that you're punching in the face, let's take a card for that. And the patience that you're welcoming. Really interestingly, they're both queens. It's two sides of the same coin, just like I had both 4s. So, sit. The fear that you're leaving behind, there's something within your fear that kind of puts a spring in your step. There's something about fear that moves you, that kind of jogs you along. So when you're giving up fear, and indeed, punching it in the face, when you're giving up fear, you will also need to replace the pep that it gives you, replace the martial quality in it, and find something different that will excite you and turn you on. So that's important. And then the patience that you're going with is something that you have successfully managed before. So first of all, that tells us that you will also successfully manage it again. You've successfully managed it before, so you definitely can do it. You definitely can successfully manage it again. It's just a matter of remembering what worked well in the past. What was it that you found easy in the past? And then all you have to do is replicate it. So beautifully, Kim says, I get that. I'm looking for a new adventure. I love that for you. Sandy Black says, hi all, Inbaal, witches New Year blessings. Witches New Year blessings to you too, Sandy. So we're talking about things that we're leaving in the past, things that we're literally slaughtering, Day of the Dead for those things. And we're looking at things that we hope to see in the future. New Year's, like Celtic New Year's resolutions that we're going for. So, Magical says, I'm leaving behind doubt and stepping into certainty. Let's see. That's properly two sides of the same coin. Let's look at the doubt that you're leaving behind and the certainty that you're welcoming in. Look, both majors, both major arcana. And actually, both major arcana that are all about the balance. Look at this one, up, down, up, down. Look at this one, up, down, up, down. So, for the doubt that you're leaving behind, it says that doubt, that you are almost using it to strengthen you, to spur you on, to make things possible and positive and exciting. So as you get rid of it, you'll need to replace it with something else that would spur you on, right? So it's a little bit similar to what Kim was seeing. And then certainty is rock solid. That certainty that you're welcoming in is going to be much easier, much more natural, much more manageable than what you're currently thinking. That certainty is going to be like second nature for you. Maybe you used to be more certain and you've forgotten it. But yeah, that certainty is going to feel like it's always been there. And Lucian is very excited. Helena says, yes, Helena, yes. Amazing. Personally, this time of year has always been incredible for me. Years, many years ago, I came to a pagan celebration, possibly 1999. Came to a pagan celebration. It was a Halloween party. And that's where I met all the pagans that I then spent years celebrating with, years and years and years. So that was Samhain. And then I joined the coven in Samhain. 2 years after that, I formed a coven in Samhain. There's been so many sort of exciting changes. I'm pretty sure not this show. This show launched in August, like a year and 3 months ago. But this time last year is when I launched the show with Laura on Thursdays. And for those who remember, also the show with Tor on Mondays that was happening till March. Magical is saying thank you, Inbaal. Thank you, Elena. Oh, wait. No, I was trying to do a nice blessing and my fingers weren't going along with it. So personally, Samhain has always been an incredible time when huge things happen, when huge things that would sort of change the course of everything would happen. So I don't actually have like huge plans like that, but also, that time that I went to a big witches party, that was not like a plan. It was just a party. I didn't realize it was going to change everything and and put me on a path where I'd meet like all the incredible people that then changed my life. What I'm hoping to that this year would bring is really sort of just more surprises. I love surprises, and it is a very surprising time of year. Let me go back and see what else we have to be inspired by in the Samhain pages of the Witch's Bible. So we started with the cauldron. Luciane says, how did you and Laura meet? You're not going to believe it if I tell you, but me and Laura actually met on my tarot course. Laura took my tarot course despite being able to read cards since she was 10 years old. And so when everybody was sort of doing their introduction, she said, I'm Laura, I'm like 23 years old. Yeah, it was like last year. 23 years old. I got my first tarot deck when I was 10 years old and I started reading then. So that was where we met. And then we sort of kept going to the same kind of places. And then towards the end of the course, it was maybe a little bit past the end of the course, was when I was already sort of working regularly on Psychic TV, which was, it was then called Psychic TV. Then it became afterwards Psychic Interactive and now Psychic Today. And they asked me if I knew sort of more good people that would be good. And I was like, yeah, I do know more good people. So I asked Laura if she would consider coming on the show. Oh, and before that, I was doing readings in Mind Body Spirit for Here's Health magazine on their stall. And they wanted like a few different people because they wanted for like the whole 2 days. So I took half a day and then gave half a day to Laura. So we worked together sort of quite a lot. And then we were on Psychic TV together. And then we did lots of witchy things together. So that's all maybe 21 years ago starting. So yeah, so we met, I think it must have been January, February, March, because it was a 6-week course and it ended on my 30th birthday. So that's how I know how many years ago that was, because I am now 51. Magical says that was so precise. Samhain blessings to you, Inbaal. Thank you so much. There we go. So I found the Samhain section here again, and we have got right. So we talked about the preparation that is recommended here. Cauldron is placed in the center of the circle with glowing charcoal. It shows a high priestess wearing like a tabard with 2 squares, with a tabard. Oh, right. So they're playing the Lord of Misrule. That's something that I remember very, very faintly, where it kind of goes into the dark side of the year, so everything is kind of upside down. So oh, I've got some stuff here written by Gerald Gardner. Forgive me if I say it's not hugely interesting. No, it's very ceremonial. Yeah, so we have a lot of explaining, very little in the way of creative ritual. And really, witches and witchlets, in my opinion, if you want like a lovely ritual that feels really personal and really kind of yours and really aligned, write your own ritual. It's the best. So for me, there's like a couple of non-negotiables in a ritual that I think are important. You want to cast a circle. I want to cast a circle. For me, it's really important that there is a separation between the world outside and like the sacred things that take place in a circle. For me, it's really important to call the 4 elements. I'm huge on the elements. I could manage a ritual without the goddess and the god. Sorry, guys. But I couldn't manage a ritual without the elements. I think it's quite important to have even the most cursory, shortest of cleansings. So blend salt and water in a small bowl, sprinkle it around to cleanse the space by earth and by water. Take a stick of incense, waft it around intentionally, and then you're cleansing by air and by fire. So it's cleansed. Then call the god and goddess. And once all of that is in place, everything that you do inside it is a ritual. So what I found sort of quite uncreative in the Samhain ritual there is that there's a huge setup of the space, and in the Witch's Bible, it's also really, really Wiccan-y. So you've got the fivefold kiss, the drawing down the moon, the charge of the goddess. So there's a lot of setting up. There's a lot of getting things in place and getting things in motion, and then the actual ritual is like teeny tiny and very like color by numbers. So for me, if I wanted to write like a Samhain ritual, I'll do my basic setup, cast a circle, cleanse, 4 quarters, god and goddess. But then I would want the meat of the ritual, like the center of the sandwich, to be the main part. And that's where I like to get creative. And I often say that, for a Pisces, I have very scant creative gifts. I can't really make anything. I can kind of sew, but it won't last. I certainly can't paint. I can't really write poetry. But I can write spells that work. And I'll take that over almost any other creative gift. So when you have everything kind of set up, the creativity for me is in how you approach the altar, how you request for things to happen, how you give thanks. We've got some gorgeous ideas there. So Luciane says, thank you. Then she says, and this is so Samhain, she says, I asked my party guests to bring photos of lost loved ones to place on the altar and maybe say a few words about them or a little story about them. Let me add to that. It's something that you might know, but just in case you don't. Oh, there we go. I don't have a bell here. I don't have an actual bell here. But on a Samhain altar, if you have a little bell, that is said to help the spirits find their way to you. And so in Samhain rituals I participated in the past, you'd walk up to the altar, you'd say the name of the person that you're calling forward, or you're calling to sort of share the feast of the dead with you. And then there actually used to be a very teeny tiny bell with very teeny tiny voice. No, I can't do it. And then you kind of ring the bell to help the spirit find its way to you in the dark. It's so awesome. So if you have a bell in the house, it will be an amazing addition to your Samhain altar to go with the photos of lost loved ones. Sorry, my bells are not here. My bells are in the other room with a big computer, because a computer is the element of air for me and the bells are the element of air. So obviously they belong together. Kim says, I'm the same sort of Pisces. Can't paint, draw, etc., but I can write you a book. Yeah, I know. I feel like my creative gifts are so specific, so teeny tiny. So I can write spells that work. And I'm not a great writer, but I do a lot of like writing, like, a lot of, they call it quotes, like commentary for the press. So I don't write the article beginning to end, but I give the filler. And I feel like I have a talent for writing that commentary in a way that is like obvious that it's not AI, which also means, I can't construct a sentence like regular people can. But nowadays I feel like it's an advantage for you to be able to kind of show yourself in a way that is like obvious that a computer wouldn't have written it. So I like to sort of put together that commentary in a way that is like quirky, there's a little bit different, and I suppose that's a gift as well. Kim says, Luciana, I love that. And Luciana says, I love writing rituals. So much fun, isn't it? um Magical says, that's beautiful, Lou. And Luciane says, my bell is ready on my altar. Amazing. I love that. Magical says, writing spells is a quantum gift. Thank you. It is exciting. It is exciting. I love dealing with magic, like all the little decisions that sort of go around it. And when I had a small coven for a short while, it was really important for me that we all kind of wrote and planned the ritual together. I thought it gave a better result, in making something collaborative. Um, but more than that, I thought that that was a great way to teach my coveners to not just sort of follow the Book of Shadows, but to create their own Book of Shadows, and and sort of allow the creativity to flow. Kim is in there saying, I have a bell on mine too. Right, amazing. So I'm going to start winding down. I had the best time with you ladies, and whichever gentlemen are in the background as well. I hope everybody feels super ready for Samhain. I hope everybody feels super ready for everything they're going to do together on Halloween night, after all the trick-or-treaters have, gone to sleep in a chocolatey stupor. And I will hopefully see you around this time next week. If you're in the UK and you're wondering how come we're an hour early, it's because we moved back the clocks last Sunday, and the US only moved back the clocks this coming Sunday. So I just had to make a choice, and I went with the US time. Kim says, happy Halloween, happy to all of you. And Luciane says, feeling the form and shape of a ritual come into fruition is such a beautiful thing, right? Because it's crazy, because you don't write it beginning to end, do you? You just sort of write the beginning and the end, and then fill up a little bit in the middle, and then sort of close all the gaps, and then all of a sudden, you created it like a sculpture. Blessings and love, says Luciane. So I hope to see you again this time next week, when we're back to regular time UK, always been regular time US. And until then, have an incredible weekend.